Hey Virgs, welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Virgs, okay, the Starborn, the Mystic, the Warrior, the Healer, and the Judge. Virgs, I kind of want to say, well, let's start with the Warrior, because the Warrior is the idea that, like, mind your battles, right? Who are you fighting and why? And I feel like you're fighting the wrong people. I don't want to say for the right reasons, but like there is an idea here of just like a general irritation. I mean, the Warrior is just like on some shit, right? Like you're fighting and you're in fight mode. And when you're in fight mode, you're just fighting everybody. And I feel like it's also kind of telling of like triggers. And I feel like there's an idea here that you're being triggered by something, but I almost want to say that you're triggered by something that's like, it's calling you to heal a part of yourself, right? Because like we get upset with other people, when they mirror something inside of us, right? So like, that's so funny. Well, okay. So like, for instance, I have a friend and, he's got some strong Virgo and my mother's a Virgo rising. And so it's just kind of like, he has definitely served in my life as like a point of just like triggering me to the point where I just like, I couldn't do it anymore, because it's like, Virgos are very, particular about how things should be done and the way they should be done and why they should be done that way. But like also sometimes it feels like you're just caught up in semantics, like if everything has to go according to, the way that the plan's been laid out, and there's something that comes up along the way that throws things off course and you have to improvise, that is like a Virgo's worst nightmare, right? And I kind of feel like you're having to improvise something and it feels like your worst nightmare. But I want to say the reality is that if you want to heal whatever this is, you have to go off course. Because like the judgment is not black and white. Like the judgment is not this or that. Like the judgment is calling into multiple facets of an arena. And the Mystic is kind of like the psychic all-knowing. The Starborn is that, you're meant to come into your power. You're meant to shine. But I want to say, if you want to shine, you have to step outside of the semantics and you have to stop being so triggered by everything. And you have to trust that there's more at hand than what meets the eye. And so you can't pass judgment on what meets the eye when there's more involved. Especially if the people you're dealing with know that there's more involved. It's like going to, I don't know why. Like it's like telling a rape victim that it was their fault because they wore those clothes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like taking somebody who, I feel like this is the situation, and I don't know, you could be on either side of the story, but it's just what's coming through, so do with it what you will. But the idea here is that like there's been judgment passed against somebody for I almost want to say like for a reaction, like this happened and they reacted, and then and you're like, well, you don't have the right to react because of this, and this. And it's like, well, yeah, if that was it, then sure, but that's not it. And you know that, and I know that, you know what I mean? And if you can't, and I feel like if you can't acknowledge the reality in the entirety of the situation, then that's just gonna, like, you're just gonna agitate the situation, right? Because there's too much knowledge at hand And I feel like you can't get to where it is that you're wanting to go if you are only focusing your decisions or your judgments on like one piece of information when there's a whole lot more involved. Ugh, that feels convoluted. Okay, let's do clarifiers. Virgs. See what we get for y'all. The Sun, the King of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Two of Pentacles. You know, I feel like the truth will set you free, right? Like if there's a whole lot to a story and you pick the part of the story that works in your favor and screws with everybody else's, then everybody else is going to have a whole lot to say about it, right? And when they do have a whole lot to say about it, I think that it upsets you, because then there's like a sense of you weren't you weren't perfect after all, right? Like what's more important to you, your ego and everybody thinking that you can do no wrong? Because that's in your head. I don't think that the people around you are looking at you and thinking, oh, they can do no wrong. I think the people around you are looking at you like you have your head so far up your own ass that you can't see right from wrong. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's an idea of like an element of that truth coming out. And I feel like maybe it's not that you're all wrong, right, Virgs? It's like, well, I'm not all wrong, and they're missing this, and this. Okay, cool. So have a conversation with these people about it. So have a full-blown, honest conversation about what it is that needs to change. Because I want to say that you have the capability to really overcome this hurdle that you're facing. But in order to overcome the hurdle, you need to be full disclosure. Right? I feel like there's just an idea here of somebody just you take what resonates, leave the rest. These are general reads. You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't fit, don't try and make it fit. But I feel like what's coming through here is that you know the whole story, and you know what's going on in this arena and this arena and this arena and this arena. And you're dealing with somebody who doesn't know all of the things, but they know what's going on in all of the things. And you're trying to tell them one thing, but they already know all of the rest. And that makes you look like an asshole. Period. End of story. If you're sitting on truth and you're making judgment based on that truth and you aren't sharing that truth, you're an asshole. You know, like, sorry, that's the truth though. And I feel like if you would just, and you could be on the other side of the fence, you know, like take it how it resonates, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you really do have, the means to bring healing to something. But if you want to do that, you better acknowledge the truth of it all. Stop trying to make yourself look good. It's going to bite you in the ass. Stop trying to manipulate the situations to gear them in the steer them in the direction that you want them to go in. Because when people know what you're doing, all that does is make you look deceptive. Because if I know what's going on and I use my knowledge to try and get you to do what I think you should do because I think that's the best move, then you are just making yourself look like a liar. Sorry, Virgs, I'm coming off real harsh right now, and I don't feel angry specifically, you know, like in this exact moment in time, but I feel like the circumstance that this is about is one of those circumstances where people know what you're doing and they don't fuck with it. And there's been judgment that has been passed that is pissed off a lot of people, because who the fuck do you think you are to determine that this is in anyone's best interest other than yours to feed your ego? You know, that's a some nasty energy coming at you, or some nasty energy that you are feeling towards other people, you know, probably a little bit of both. But okay, so we have the Three of Swords, the Emperor, the Queen of Cups, and the Three of Wands. I do feel like you're getting, I feel like it's just this idea of like, if you could let go of trying to control something, if you could let go of withholding truth, you know, like in the hopes that it'll give you the upper hand, but when you can't withhold truth from people who have an awareness, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't do anything. And if you are dealing with somebody who's aware, then they're probably aware of the process. They're probably aware of, you know, like the caveat information, the details behind the scenes. You know what I mean? It's like working for a job that you're overqualified for, and then having somebody treat you like you are, like you're only as intelligent as this particular position. And you're like, maybe you don't know that I've done all of these things 100 times over. I'm fully aware of what's going on and how it's going on and why it's going on. And you know what I mean? Like, and you just look like an asshole right now because you think that I'm not as smart as you, or not as capable as you, or not as aware as you. And so you're going to try and manipulate it in your favor, but fuck all. Nobody will want to work with you. Nobody wants to work with people who make them feel like they're being manipulated, ever. Unless they think that they can manipulate you, and that's the energy that they want to ride in, right? Because that's how it works. But I feel like there's an idea here of there's a lot of love, there's a lot of compatibility, there's a lot of strength, there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of positive things here, Virgs. And I think that you can have all of those positive things. But first, you have to let go of the idea that you have any control over the situation. And you have to let go of the idea that if you withhold information from other people, that that'll somehow give you the upper hand. It won't. The Moon, the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Six of Swords. I mean, I feel like there's an idea here that you're kind of having to, like I want to say that somebody's moving in another direction. I feel like maybe this is just a conversation that you've had, or an argument that you've undergone, or an energy that you're moving through, because it feels like the idea here is like, I had to follow my intuition in order to not get screwed over. And you made me look like the bad guy for it. But I'm not worried about looking like the bad guy. I'm worried about looking like an idiot, because who the fuck would fall for that shit, right? That's a feel. Like, you're not going to make me look stupid. I don't care who you are or what you think you know. You know what I mean? Like, it's what you do with it, and what you did with it was total shit. And so, you know, again, it's just this idea of like following your intuition and having it take you in a different direction, or possibly the other person following their intuition and having it take them in a different direction. And then the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like there's an attempt to really step up into a place of action, to make an offer. You know, the Knights are usually, you know, it's kind of not necessarily as reliable. And I don't know, Virgos, if you feel this way about somebody or somebody feels this way about you, but I think that there's an attempt to bring healing to something that was no longer working, and there was an understanding that went beyond what met the eye. And a decision to really stand in the truth that turns things around and gives you an opportunity to move towards healing, a partnership that I want to say wasn't an actual partnership, because how can you, like, a partnership is equal. And if you withhold information from somebody and you try to use that to your benefit, then you're manipulative and you're deceitful. And that's just not okay. Like that, like at no point in time is that ever okay. Like, you don't get to say it's okay in some situations and not others. Like, that's not your call. And Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, the reality of all of this right here is that, like, the truth will set you free. Like, come clean with your truth, or watch as chaos wreaks havoc in your life. The River. Yeah, because I feel like whatever it is, like whoever it is that you were working with, I feel like there's an idea of intimidation, right? Like intimidation that like somebody has a better, like a more solid knowledge of something. And so you feel like they have the upper hand. And in an attempt to gain the upper hand, you were going to withhold information because you didn't want to miss out on it, because I think you looked at this person and you thought they're going to go past me. They're going to go further than me. And true to the village mentality, nobody ever wants you to go any further than they can go. And so they'll trip you up every chance they get. But it's like, in the end, you're only tripping yourself up. You're only limiting yourself. Because people who are aware, like, don't be a liar. Don't be deceitful. Don't be manipulative. It's not a good look. Virgos, you're better than that, right? You know better than that. You mean better than that. When you're not doing it, I guess. I don't know. Sorry, Virgs. This was kind of aggressive, but that's the energy at hand, so that's how it's coming out. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. Please give me a like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all again soon. Bye.